Hey, friends. Well, it's day 500. Yes. What can I say? What have I learned in 500 days? Back on May 15th, 2021, I decided eh, I'll give this keto thing a try because nothing else worked, right? And since then, over the last 500 days, I have done nothing but immerse myself in how the body works, vitamins, nutrients, nutrition. All right. Um, and I'm ready to start a company. So I'm going to be sharing what I know with the rest of the world, like a lot of the other influencers are. And I see a day when big tech is going to be bought and paid for by big farm with an F, and big food with another F. and I see the day when what I'm going to share with people is going to be probably considered misinformation because they're going to find a way to say, well, you have no studies proving that it's scientific, and yet you don't either. You have no studies proving anything. Here's what we need to do in order to have a nutrition study. We have to have several thousand identical twins willing to sacrifice their lives, quite literally. We're going to take one of those identical twins and we're going to put them in a specific scenario. We'll have to keep them monitored. We'll have to keep them essentially a prisoner and feed them what we think is the proper human diet. And then we'll take the other twin and feed them what we know, quote unquote, to be the standard Western diet. Okay. And then we'll have crossovers. All right. And then we need a control group. And to do that, it will take us probably 70 to 80 years. We will have unfortunately destroyed the lives of several thousand people in order for the numbers to be big enough to be scientifically valid. That's not going to happen. Okay. Uh, in our defense as ketovore, carnivore, um, we can't prove that our diet is good for humans any more than sugar companies and refined food companies and yellow seed oil companies can prove that they're good for the population, because we can't do a study on human beings. This was outlawed in the 20th century. Should have been anyway. Well, anyway, I'm not going to digress. So what we do have is thousands, no, now millions, because I know there's millions of people following these YouTube influencers who are discussing low carb, high fat. And we know that every one of them has come forward and said, I'm feeling better, never felt so good. I've reversed type 2 diabetes. I've reversed this. I've reversed that. My wife has reversed Hashimoto's. I've reversed type 2 diabetes, among myriad other ailments that I was suffering, pain, GERD. I mean, I haven't puked up liquid while I'm sleeping in over a year. And, well, the 500 days. The last one would have been more than 500 days ago. So, what else have I learned? I've learned that medicine and science are bought and paid for by the people who want their shtick making waves, making scientific papers. See, guys, if I want to pay for some research and I'm looking for a specific result, and I fund 10 studies, and one of them can be interpreted as solving my particular shtick, and the other 9 are like, matter of fact, it proved the opposite. I just don't publish those 9 studies, and I publish this one, and it's most likely going to be associative, and now I can say, oh, it's the cause of, no. So he who pays for the study gets the results that he wants from the study. All right, this is human nature. So Hippocrates said, he who does not have himself as a doctor is a fool. So my advice to the rest of the world is, since I personally, this is just me, humble me more, I can't trust ever again the allopathic system. Is there a place for it? Sure. Get my leg chopped off, get in a traffic wreck, trauma medicine, acute medical and medicinal needs in order to save just my life. And then I'll go ahead, thank you very much, and bring myself back to health on my own convalescent care, all right? And I don't even want to get into getting symptoms and diseases. So what I've learned is the allopathic system is pretty much, I've withdrawn the welcome mat from them. I'll never trust them again. Thank you very much. And there are certain worldwide groups and certain doctors that have really taught me that it's horrible. We can't follow it. So thank you guys for allowing me to educate myself. What else have I learned in 500 days? I've learned that sugar's a drug. I've learned that refined foods are just chemicals. I've learned that yellow seed oils are very highly processed and poisonous to the body, in my particular case. I've also learned that grains, we didn't have grains for about the last 10,000 years. And I'm actually going to go back through theology and scriptures and see if I can find evidence that, at least in the Old Testament, that we probably had a different diet. And I have, and I've even questioned some of my friends. I have an Orthodox priest friend who maintains that, well, they eat a lot of fruits and vegetables and they fast a lot. Well, I don't want to suffer. So thank you. I'll just eat meat and fats and eggs and cheese, and then I'll fast. I have no problems. Matter of fact, every day I fast. I've learned that I can go up to 5 days without eating any food whatsoever. And I'm perfectly wonderful, healthy, happy. I get hungry for about the first 2 days, and then after that, it just goes away, and I don't have to deal with it. So food insecurity is not a problem for me. I have plenty of fat on my body to take care of me for the short term. I could probably go a full month without severe detriments to my health. What else have I learned over the last 500 days? Oh, weight means nothing. It's not about weight. Calories. If you're speaking strictly in physics, the law of thermodynamics, yeah, calories mean everything. But in the human body, it's an open system, and it's a hormonal system. Believe it or not, each thing we take into our body, be it poisons, food, air, all right, pollution, whatever it is, we do not live in a closed system. Our body manages those things. We have a little chemist called the liver, and he makes sure that we are as toxic free as we can be. All right. What else have I learned? I've learned that saturated fats are excellent for you. As a matter of fact, when you don't eat for a period of time, your body will eventually tap into your own saturated fat stores. So if saturated fat were bad, why do we store it and why do we use it as fuel when we don't have a fuel source coming in? I've learned that cholesterol doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, I've also learned that most people don't even know what cholesterol is. You think it's LDL, HDL, and no. That's not cholesterol. That's the little lipoprotein carrier that actually carries the cholesterol inside of it. Once you understand that there's actually two parts to this, then you'll understand that cholesterol, we don't have any studies pro or against. Scientific, like I said, twins, we separated twins at birth, 80, 90 years old, right? Kept them prisoner forever and fed them what we wanted. We have no studies pro or con. But I can tell you that I would have what's considered high cholesterol to most folks, and that would be 230. And I'm not hurting. As a matter of fact, I know for a fact my vascular system was damaged for about the last 40 years or more. And if saturated fats and eating fatty meat and eggs and cheese were a bad thing, and that's all I've really done for the last 500 days, don't you think that would have just gone, here's the little Cliff, here's Tommy with his little heart problem. Boo! Ooh, that hurt. All right? That hasn't happened. As a matter of fact, I feel better than I've ever felt in my life. I feel like I'm 18 again. and I'm not kidding. I have no pain. I had arthritis. Well, I would crack when I did this. I had arthritis here. I had arthritis here. I had some gout on my big right toe. Gone. I've had inflammation. Obviously, you can see some of my old pictures. I was pretty damn swollen. Not swollen no more, I don't think. You can actually see bones on my hands. You can actually see muscles. I actually have defined muscles. They're not like this fluffy muscle. It's actually got some definition to it. All right? Both sides, just so that you think I'm just not cheating here. And they are absolutely powerful. I used to have a tough time, no kidding, with these let's say 45 to 50 pound, the water bottles. Some of you may order it from certain companies. And we get ours. And I just squat down, grab it, stand up, using my legs, of course, not my back. I don't bend over. I actually just stand up, and I just, like a boss, wow, boom. I mean, those are 50-pound bottles, and I just throw them around like they ain't nothing. And when I get them out on my patio, and I go ahead and grab them, squat, stand up. Now there's almost 100 pounds of water there. And I will I'll have one bottle in my hand, support one on my leg as I open the door with my other arm. Can you guys do that with 100 pounds of weights? I don't know. I can. Yay. Okay, guys, so when I told you I haven't eaten for 23 hours, and these are two 20-kilogram bottles of water. When I told you I can do lots of things, this is almost 100 pounds. La, la, la. This is what? 40 kilos is what, 90 pounds, something like that. All right? So when I told you I handle these things like a boss, I mean it. And now I'm going to squat back down, flip these guys up. Ta-da! And I learned I could do that. I learned I could fast and do exercise and walk great distances without having eaten for a day or two. As a matter of fact, yesterday I did an 8-kilometer walk in about an hour, 20 minutes, and I hadn't eaten for 24 hours. So I've learned that fasting doesn't make me weak. As a matter of fact, fasting increases my metabolism. I've learned that I can eat 2 and 3 pounds of food per day and not gain an ounce. I've learned that, again, I won't need any medicines ever. And if I do have some kind of acute system, there is a system in place for that. Sure, it'll keep me alive. I've also learned that I'm not going to be susceptible to the myriad diseases that 89% of you are now susceptible to. I'm in rare air, folks. I'm in with the 11 percenters. Out of every 10 people I count, I'm in great shape. They're all sick. Out of every 20 I count, I include myself and one other guy, and we walk off, yeah, bruh, all right, brun each other to death, and we're healthy, and we're going to live a great, long health span. I'm not into the amount of years. I'm into the amount of health. That's another thing I learned. There's a difference between health span and lifespan. My dad, I'll use as an example, and my family line. My grandfather, I think his first heart attack was he was 53 years old. I'm now within a couple of weeks of 56. My grandmother died at 94 and a half, but she talked about her arthritis in her spine. She winds up dying of congestive heart failure, which is simply too much water in the human body, and that's caused by too much glucose. Too many carbs. Could she have lived longer like her other sisters who are now over 100? Probably. But to her defense, I mean, she didn't smoke, she didn't drink. My dad, prostate cancer at 58, wound up getting the surgery. Wow. His health span ended right there. It sucked for the next 58 till he died at 74 and a half. In and out of hospitals, this, that, a bag, the whole thing. You know what? Screw it. If I get it, it'll take me in a month or two. Adios. But according to my last liver enzyme tests, I have no cancer in my body, according to that number. And I couldn't care less because I'm not going to test for it, because I'm not going to do anything about it surgically. When it's time for me to go, it's time for me to go. And I'm just going to go. Adios. Can't live forever. Don't want to. And I'm just going to eat a crap load of eggs and fatty meats till the end. Hoorah. My mom, 64. She died like a month before her 65th birthday. Pulmonary embolism, which goes through deep vein thrombosis, which goes through, obviously, coronary artery disease. She had in a large right section of her heart. She'd been overweight, and I guarantee you, diabetic for her entire life. Well, she got 64 years out of that. And why so early also? Well, my dad and mom were both smokers, so was my grandpa. I don't smoke. I did smoke for a brief period in my adolescence. By now, I'm regenerated. Ain't nothing. If it didn't get me then, it ain't gonna get me now. So that's the end of that. Happily, my sister found keto. So I think she's gonna have a great long health span, and her husband. Hopefully her kids adopted. Hopefully my kids, at least, they can enjoy now. They can eat their poisons and chemicals, but when they get up to the age where it's time to say, time to grow up. It's time to grow up. Time to have a little wisdom. Time to wear appropriate clothing. Behave in an appropriate manner for someone your age. And I think there is age-specific modalities, if we will. There's modesty at an age where it's time to, dress your age. Be your age. Act your age. Okay, and at least they'll have the little seed back here that says, hey, I can always go fatty meat and eggs. And boom, man, I'll just go the way my dad and mom went. Like I said, my wife reversed everything that was wrong with her. And so that's that. I can talk, prefer to just talk about my immediate family. My grandmother on my mom's side died at 53, leukemia, whatever that means. I know she drank. I know she was overweight, so that would lead me to believe that she had diabetes as well. Again, this whole Syndrome X thing. So many things I've learned over 500 days. And I like to share that. As a matter of fact, I've shared this with several. And let me talk about, I'll just use first names. My friend John. He's reversed just about everything. He's off, I think, all medicines except one, and that's his own thing. He needs to come to grips with that. My other friend, Glenn, he's completely off, I think, most all of his medicines. Again, I think except one or two that he personally thinks he needs to remain on. Great. A third person, let's call her Myra. She has reversed PCOS. As a young lady, she's reversed her diabetes, her all of her issues. She's off her medicines, and she is slim and trim and beautiful. Not that slim and trim necessarily makes you beautiful. I'm just saying, from what she looked like then to what she looks like now, boom, beautiful. Her physique, her human form is absolutely worthy of sculpture. It is gorgeous. Okay. Another teacher friend of ours, and she's 48 years old, and she said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go low carb." And she noticed within a week, she's a school teacher. She noticed the kids don't bug her anymore. They were bugging her. They don't now. She's like, whatever. Mental stability. My friend Maria, she got on a little bit, and then she had the concerned trolls go after her, and then she decided, no, you know what, and she grabbed a friend of hers, a significant friend, and they're going to do this together. They started yesterday, in fact, on Monday, again, and she's already noticed that her right wrist is already pain-free. She was fit to go into surgery. But hey, if it doesn't hurt, then there's nothing wrong with it. That's it. There's nothing wrong with it. If it doesn't hurt, there's nothing wrong with it. All right? And I'm trying to think of a few other people. I know there's another guy, student of mine, English student, who I think he does some fruit, but he does pretty much lower carb, and he's trimmed out. And there's several other people that, for whatever reason, it's not their time. They're not ready. They may never be ready. And then, of course, they're going to suffer through surgeries, medicines. This is how it's going to work. You're going to have to pick your system, all right? So 500 days. My goodness, there's just so much that I've learned. I've decided to go with what we call terrain theory. I don't rule out other hypotheses, but terrain theory I appreciate because it leads me to believe that we're all infected by bacteria. I know I have more bacteria in my large colon than there are cells in my entire body. So essentially with those back in my large colon, I double my cell count to about 80 trillion. For those of you in Europe and other countries, that would be 80,000 billion of cells that I support, grow, maintain, cultivate. And why do some bacteria find a little opportunity to make you sick and then excrete toxins? We all have the bacteria present. I mean, there's just plenty of probably really nasty bacteria on my skin. But for whatever reason, my own bacteria that my body has cultivated are keeping them under wraps. They're keeping them oppressed. But if I bring my body out of balance, boom, now the bacteria go, hee, and they do what they do. They're decomposers. That's what they do. And that's their nature. And within 3 days, they will begin to decompose a weakness in my armor. And the excretion of their toxins is what gives me my symptoms. So do I need meds? Personally, me, moi? Do I need meds or anything to keep me from getting these toxins? No. What I need to do myself personally is, Hippocrates said food is medicine. So I eat the proper food and I keep my body back in balance. It doesn't matter what toxins they have. My liver, kidneys, other organs in the body will take care of it. Wow, what a great run for 500 days. And I told myself over a week ago I wasn't going to weigh myself for 2 weeks, so I don't have a weight for you. I know some people are like, well, what do you weigh? I'm going to find out Friday. Yay. So that's that. 500 days, let's go for another 500 more. Let's see what I look like at 1,000 days. Obviously, diets don't work. We know that because what do you do a diet for? You diet until you don't have to diet anymore, right? You hit your goal and then I go back to doing what I'm doing. Since this is sustainable for 500 days, guys, that's like the Earth spinning 500 times, going about 2.5. How many? About a year and a third around the sun. So 1 1/3 revolutions around the sun and rotating 500 times. And I haven't been hungry, and I haven't been ill, and I haven't been in pain, I haven't been inflamed, nothing for 500 days. Obviously, it's not a diet, so it must be my appropriate way to live. All right, cool. So I'll sign off as I always have. Have a great day. Be well.